Make a big move, make any move, make a move of any kind. That's the discussion, right? What should they do? Who should they target? Who should they call? Which team should they pilfer for the piece that is going to make them a Stanley Cup champion? Canes are at the point. Ready for this? This is not going to make many people very comfortable. Mm-hmm. They're at the point. They are at the point. The Canes are at the point where price should matter significantly less than getting the right piece. I can't tell you how many times I've floated a name, talked about it here, talked about it on The Office, talked about it on social media, talked about it with a fan that I interact with, and I float a piece, right? And it's like the Canes have everyone brainwashed. They immediately go, well, I mean, if you want to give up nothing, right? Oh yeah, I'd be interested in that center. I'd be interested in that winger. I'd be interested in that goalie as long as they're willing to accept, a bag of pucks and a couple of dozen donuts for the player. And I'm going, price should matter less than getting the right piece. The cliche is this, right? The cliche is no one asks the Chiefs how much they gave up to trade up to draft Patrick Mahomes, right? Nobody, did you have to give up the extra second-round pick or whatever it was to go get Patrick Mahomes? No, nobody asks that. But guess what? No one asked the Rams how much they gave up for Von Miller either, because they acquired him mid-season. He was a one-year rental, and he helped them win a Super Bowl. Right? The price matters so much less than the piece. So let's talk about some of the names, right? And Dennis, I'm gonna use you as part of this point. Let's go Guentzel, okay?
Jake Guentzel, the forward for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
There we go. Elliot Friedman on why the Canes should go after Jake Guentzel.
Carolina's history is they do not pay for rentals. And that's generally been the way that they have operated. Now it's possible again that they could find some really good depth players, depth scorers for not the highest price. But, and again, this is other people talking, not me, is there going to come a day where the Hurricanes say, it is our time to do it. We're going to bend our principles and we're going to do it. And the years you bend the principles are the years where you're good enough to win. And to me, if that team went out and got, say, Jake Guentzel, I think they could win the Stanley Cup.
If you think if you get Jake Guentzel, you can win the Stanley Cup, I don't want to say don't try to get the best deal, but it is if you pay 120% of what you think he's worth, no one's going to come back and say, geez, how dumb are you to get the extra 20? It's either going to work or it is not. Frank Vetrano, another name that's popping up, correct, Dennis?
Yeah, from the Anaheim Ducks. He's a forward. He has 29 goals this season. Tons of playoff experience, too.
Whether it is a good decision or a bad decision to bring in Guentzel or Vetrano or name your player is not decided by how much you give up for them. It's not. It's decided, right? Whether it is a good trade or a bad trade is decided by how successful your team is this season. And guess what? That's true for every buyer at the deadline ever. You buy at the deadline if you think you can go win a championship. If you think you can go win a Stanley Cup, and if you do it and you win, it is a great trade at twice the price. It is a great trade no matter what you paid. If you don't, it becomes a bad trade, but the price isn't the part that makes it the bad trade. I'm tired of looking for the perfect, absolute perfect trade. I mean, Dennis, how long today over in our office and our over by our desks did we debate like which of the mid-tier prospects on the Canes you would give up for somebody like Guentzel?
Longer than this segment.
and I'm going like, which of the mid-tiers? Okay, Pano and Nishikin, right? I guess you say not those two. Take your pick of the rest.
Yeah.
Right?
Just about.
It's either going to win or it's not, and you're not going to sit around and go, oh, well, good thing we only gave him our fifth best prospect instead of our fourth. That makes this season and trade deadline feel like a win. Whether it is a good trade or not at this point in the development of the Canes is whether you win it all or not how much you give up. Don't think about like evaluating trades on, oh, would this be a 10% overpay? Think about it like, will this put us over the top? And if the answer is yes, get the darn thing done. If the answer is yes to will this put us over the top, or does this make us significantly more likely to achieve the big goals? Will this move put us over the top? If the answer is yes, get it done. And if it's Guentzel, great. If it's Vetrano, fantastic. If it's not, keep looking around until the answer to that question is yes. Will this put us over the top? And find the answer to be yes, and then get that deal done. If you have to go in there with a Godfather offer, you got to tell them make an offer they can't refuse. If you have to do that, you do that. Is it going to be more than you wanted to spend? Maybe. But that's not the issue here. You've built up your team in a really nice way. Now you have to go for it. All this talk of, oh, this guy, well, what's the price? That guy, well, what's the price? Well, guess what? And I'm just using these two examples because they're the ones I heard about most recently, and they're the ones we were debating in the office. But Guentzel and Vetrano, they're not the same player.
No.
Right? They're very different in what they bring to the table. It shouldn't be like, well, let's go look at these two guys and whichever one we can get for the price that makes sense. Because there's no way those two guys are the answer to the same question. They're different. So pick the one you like and get it done. If you want to use interest in both to potentially be a negotiating thing to drive down the price, that's where you got to be a businessman, and Don Waddell needs to handle it. But have like one or the other. There's no way there should be like, well, there's any of 6 guys that they should be interested in. I'm going like, well, what? Seems like they have very specific questions they're asking. How would 6 guys be the answer to a specific question? I mean, one of the first things Dennis asks whenever we talk about a new player is he left-handed? Is he right-handed? And
I guarantee you Rob Brind'amour wants a right-handed face-off man.
Like that alone should narrow it. Like, all right. Right-handed face-off man, second-team center, right? Like goal scorer. There's not a ton of those guys out there. Pick the one that fits what you do best. So the answer to the question of will this put us over the top is yes. Then get it done. At the end of the year when we're evaluating the trade, like, oh, in retrospect, at the deadline, the Canes did this. It's going to have nothing to do with did you give up a second-round pick or a third-round pick. It's going to have nothing to do with did you give up Suzuki or did you give up I don't even what the debate is of the prospects. It's going to have nothing to do with that. It's going to be, did you make it to the Stanley Cup Finals or not? Did that player that you traded for have an impact in it? If the answer is yes to that, the answer is, was this a good trade? The answer will be yes.